lie, what it's about, bruh. I said it, look up.
But I just gotta know one thing. Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
We want Dallas! We want Dallas! We want Dallas! What's up, Philadelphia? We are live! Broadcasting from the beautiful new media studios right outside of Philadelphia. Welcome to the 2017 Week 11 edition of the 4th and Jawn podcast. Boys and girls, when the schedule comes out earlier in the season, I take a look at three things. First thing I look for is when is the home opener, because your boys got some tailgates to plan. Number two, I look for the bye week. Where's the bye week? Because I want to make sure the league's not dicking us like they did last year in week 4. And the third thing I look for is where is Dallas? And we can sit here and argue about who the greatest rival is for our beloved Philadelphia Eagles, but just know this. I hate nothing more than that scumbag organization that calls themselves the Dallas Cowboys, or their knuckle-dragging, helmet-wearing, short bus taking, window-licking, idiot fan base that does nothing but stare at the star and doesn't realize what's happening in front of them. And what's happening in front of them right now is the Philadelphia Eagles are taking over this division. And it ends Sunday night. Boys and girls, welcome to Dallas Week. But I want to turn it over to my man, Mr. Gale Saunders, Eagle Sessions on Twitter. I know you're amped up for this week. How you feeling, my friend?
Pretty amped up, fellas. I mean, Eagle fans out there, I need you to get in touch with your emotions right now. Be confident. I said it weeks ago, be confident in what you guys are seeing. How long have you watched the Eagles? How long have you seen bad defense? It's been a long time. Now we have a team in every sense of the word. We have a team that's playing for the coach. Playing for the players to the left, to the right of them. You have a team that's got leadership out the ass. It's crazy. Players are playing for each other. Players are playing for no money in Chris Long. I mean, it's a special thing. I'm a Kelly Green Eagle wearer. Mm-hmm. You know how long? You're talking to a guy who's been watching Reggie White. You're talking to a guy who's watched Jerome Brown play. I seen the 2004 run. Mm-hmm. The feeling we got when we got Terrell Owens and Javon Curse.
Yes, sir.
I wake up every week for the last 9 weeks with that feeling in my gut. Last time this team has been 8-1. Let's see, 2004 went to the Super Bowl. 1980, last time they were 8-1. What happened? Went to the Super Bowl. 1960, 8-1. What happened? They won the NFL championship. 1949, 8-1. Went to the NFL championship.
I like that.
So if you can't say it, I'll say it for you with my fucking chest. This is a Super Bowl caliber team.
Damn.
And they have every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears poured into each game and every week. And they're even keeled. So I feel good about myself. And y'all should too. And this team.
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, well, we can handle some Gale Saunders. I freaking love it, man. Listen, dude, in football as in life, timing is everything. And we are catching the Dallas Cowboys at the exact right time. Because right now you got an owner in Jerry Jones who's too busy battling the league and getting cease and desist orders. Yep. Zeke Elliott, because he decided to battle the league and fight that suspension. Thank you, Jerry Jones. Thank you very much. Now we don't have to worry about Ezekiel Elliott, who last year when we played them down in Dallas rushed for 96 yards. We don't got to worry about that. Sean Lee is out. Their left tackle is questionable. I don't know if he's going to play, but we're catching them at the right time. Speaking of time, we said it when we were at the Green Turtle, not last week, but the week before, that this Philadelphia Eagles team is ahead of schedule. First year you implement the system. Second year you perfect the system. Third year you go on your run. Boys and girls, we are so ahead of the curve right now. It is unbelievable. Timing is everything, and the Eagles are peaking at the exact right time, and Dallas is on the decline. Working the social media today is our boy Philly Mike. Philly, Mike, how you doing?
Skill! How about them Cowboys? All right, let me sit down for a sec here. Hold on. How about them Cowboys? Freaking demolished, 27-7 loss with the Falcons. Guys, we didn't even do a show last week. After the trade deadline, after Green Turtle, the next day, we got Jay Ajayi for a 4th-round pick. And then on Sunday, we put the 50 burger on one of the top defenses in the NFL with the Denver Broncos. And now it's Dallas Hate Week. I'm juiced, man. I am juiced for a big W. Yep, cheering myself off lately.
Way to make it weird right away. And working the soundboard, Mr. Evan Bubblegum Ear. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic. I got to tell you, man, it's the best time of year. I'm not talking about Thanksgiving. I'm not talking about Christmas. Kids are already excited about getting presents and shit. I'm talking about it is fucking Dallas week, man. It is Dallas week. Like you said as you started off the show, I mark this week down on my calendar, and the first game especially every year, because it reminds us that fucking Dallas is our number one rival against us. And I'm sorry, I'm tripping up right now. I just can't get over. I can't get over this week. I'm so excited.
And I'm glad you brought it up that Dallas is the biggest rival, because people have argued that it's the New York Giants. Yeah. Being a child of the 80s, right? Born in 82, all right? I was born the year after the Eagles went to the Super Bowl.
In a manger?
In a
In a manger?
Yeah, I don't think my mother was the Virgin Mary there by any stretch of the imagination. But being born and when Dick Vermeil, right, came to the Eagles, number one priority, the first thing he said right there in camp was, listen, we have got to beat the Dallas Cowboys, because he had Tom Landry and Roger Staubach and all them back there. And then going through the 90s, you have the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this is when, listen, born in 82, you don't really start wrapping your head around the game of football until you're 10 to 12 years old. You start understanding what's happening right now. That was right during Dallas's peak Super Bowl run. So you remember the Buddy Ryan era. You remember, the Bounty Bowl, stuff like that. You remember Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and all those things. Sure, the New York Giants were the team to win the last 2 Super Bowls out of the NFC East. Mm-hmm. And the rivalry with the New York Giants has more to do with, I feel like, proximity than it is culture. Because when you take a look at New York Giants fans, excluding Cop Izzle, who sits there with that hillbilly accent, excluding Cop Izzle, you take a look at New York Giants fans, there's not a whole lot that separates the Giants fans from the Eagles fans. Northeast, blue-collar, hard-hat kind of guys, right? It's kind of the same ilk. You can almost put Boston fans or Baltimore fans in the same Northeast clump right there. Mm-hmm. But when you talk about the Dallas Cowboys and their fan base, I feel like it's more of a cultural rivalry. Because where you have the Northeast city of Philadelphia, right? Kind of hard, cold, blue-collar. You have the glitz and the glam, the big cowboy hats, the big cars with the horns in the front. I know I'm stereotyping the shit out of them. The bitches with the big blonde hair and the big fake titties. I mean that right there
Casey Dukes.
Is Dallas fake, and it expels throughout their fan base. Mm-hmm. Just a fake group of fans, and I can't wait to put them in their place this week.
I think it speaks to how many fraud Cowboy fans are out there. Just the fact,
How many Cowboy fans do you guys know in your own personal lives that are someone that have grown up in this area, possibly have never even been to Texas, yet they grew up a Cowboys fan because their daddy or their grandpappy was a Cowboys fan?
And they're probably a Yankee fan or a Laker fan.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere.
And my favorite one particularly is the 22-year-old Cowboys fan that's bragging about rings, who was in diapers the last time where they won one.
I mean, last time they won one was Zach Morris was pulling out his phone on Saved by the Bell, the big ass cell phone.
The brick.
So don't tell me you've seen the Super Bowl. So
Yeah, the Cowboys fans and Vanilla Ice are still living off of shit they did in the 90s. Dude, that was like 20 years ago. Now, granted, they got rings. Here's the hot take. Here's the hot take that I'm going to give you. When the Cowboys fans spit in front of you how many Super Bowls you won, right? How many rings you all got. They're right. They're right.
Super Bowl rings.
And until we win that Super Bowl ring, until we get that Lombardi trophy, until we have our parade going down Broad Street, they will continue to be right. But the way this season is going, and Gail, I'm glad you hit on it in the intro, I think it's about time we stop ignoring the SB word, because it's legit.
100%.
Like, you win against the Dallas Cowboys this week, the D word is already a lock. Because the Eagles are 8-1, right? Cowboys are 5-4.
Yep,
correct.
Okay, so let's say we win on Sunday night. That'll make us 9-1. That'll make them 5-5. They would have to win out the rest of their games without Zeke, without Sean Lee, without any of that, to go 11-5. Correct?
Correct.
I mean,
the Eagles could lose or win no more than two games to go 11-5. That's assuming they split. That's a tie record. Assuming they split. You win against Dallas on Sunday night, the D word, division, it's a lock. We're no longer playing for the division. We're in the playoffs. We are now playing for that coveted first round bye, which, by the way, 2 games later lands you in the SB. I'm sorry if you guys are scared to talk about it.
Got to say it with your chest.
It's
But
reality
it is
now.
what it is. It's there.
Not a mercy.
I mean, anyone who plays football, your number one goal at the start of the season is to win a championship. In the NFL, it's win a Super Bowl. So these players believe this from day one. If you didn't believe it, you end up like the Giants, who lost their locker room, their coach. Their whole goal system is off right now. This team has been focused, laser focused. This started back in North Dakota when the receivers were getting to know Carson and Alshon was getting to know the group. This thing started a long time ago in the OTAs, and the players that like Jason Peters, the Darren Sproles, who laid the foundation for the players that are coming in, the Malcolm Jenkins, who are laying the foundation of what an Eagle player is looking like. These guys are buying in. Look at Ronald Darby. He put out a message on social media saying how much he believes in these guys and what he's learned so much just being in this locker room. So obviously, they're just firing all on the same cylinders, and that's what you got to love.
And like I said earlier, timing is everything. And while you're watching the dumpster fire that is the New York Giants that just lost against a winless San Francisco 49ers team.
But didn't Kyle Pizzle say that they were going to go on that run?
Yeah, they were going to win the next 5. Yeah, that didn't last very
Still
long.
waiting on that.
And while you're watching the Washington Redskins, who are enjoying their last moments with Kirk Cousins and who are going to have to start over from scratch next year, name me the leader on the New York Giants team. I'll wait. Name me the leadership on the Washington Redskins. I'll wait. More specifically and importantly coming up this week, after watching the Atlanta Falcons pretty much dismantle the Dallas Cowboys, name me the leader on the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Got to say Dak.
I was going to say, if anybody's going to be Dak.
Dak on his ass.
Yeah.
And it's funny how the Cowboys fans are now making the same excuses for Dak Prescott that we were trying to explain to them
Last season.
They just want to talk about numbers. Dak's better than Wentz. Dak's better than Wentz. Dak's better than Wentz. Look at the numbers. And we would try to explain to them, like intelligent fans who actually watch the game of football, hey, listen, he's got no offensive line. That's just an excuse. Dude, they can't run the ball. That's just an excuse. Carson doesn't have enough time to throw to his receiver. That's just an excuse. The Eagles, the defensive set, that's just an excuse. Well, come to find out this year, as the SS freaking Jerry Jones is sinking, that they're coming up with the same exact excuse.
He wasn't ready.
No, they were not ready. And this isn't last year's Philadelphia Eagles team. You go back and you take a look at that game in Dallas last year. Not talking about the one in Philadelphia because that was at the end of the year. It was Sproles, Matthews, Ryan Matthews, and Barner rushed for 105 yards. Barner's the only one that's left, and he's an afterthought right now. Carson Wentz went 32 of 43. 32 of 40. He threw 43 passes in that game. That's not this year's Eagles. J-Matt and DGB went for
not even on the team.
Not even on the team. Went for $120 and a touchdown. That's last year's Eagles. That isn't this year's Eagles. Eagles had 2 sacks. Connor Barwin and Marcus Smith. Not even on the team. And the Eagles ran the ball 24 times and passed 47 times. This is not last year's Eagles. This is this year's Eagles. And shit has changed, and Dallas fans are having trouble kind of force-feeding themselves that notion.
You got to say that. I mean, if, like Gail was saying before, I think what's been happening, especially the offseason, Doug really looked at himself in the mirror and said, yo, I need to change this up big time. Especially after, what was it, the second game of the year or the third game of the year that they rushed a ton more times.
The Kansas City game.
Yep, the Kansas City game, yep. They've been balanced since,
right?
Passing and running. It's just, you got to give credit to Doug. I mean, Doug is what's making this happen. Without the running game, Carson wouldn't be able to, like, have I wouldn't even say this, but the receivers wouldn't be as open as what they were right now. We'll be pretty predictable doing passing plays all game like we were last year. And look what it is this year, man.
I think the biggest difference from last year and this year, defenses now have to defend the whole field. Last year, defenses were like, hey, I'm not
check down.
Who's going to burn us deep? No one really. DGB doesn't really know the route tree. It's like an Alshon Jeffrey. Zach Ertz now has the open field to run. You guys got guys stretching the field. Now we have Jay motherfucking Ajayi.
Timing is everything.
It is, man.
And LeGarrette Blount and Corey Clement, a guy who's been playing lights out.
Underrated,
scoring
man.
3 touchdowns last week. A guy who has fight. I mean, we have 3 capable backs and offensive line that's believing in the run game and themselves. So
timing is everything. And while the Dallas Cowboys continue to get worse by the meddling of their own owner and injuries, the Eagles are getting somehow better. I mean, think about this. The bye week, and they're getting better. They're getting better. They traded a 4th-round pick for Jay. They just signed
Will Beatty.
Yep, and Ellerby. All right, these are 2 guys, veterans. They're not going to start. You don't pick up guys off the street. But you see these types of moves from teams that are getting ready to do what?
Make a Super Bowl run.
Make a Super Bowl
gearing
run.
up, man.
Meanwhile, Darby's coming back. And who even knows? Who knows, Mr. Sidney Jones, if we'll see him. Somehow, the Eagles are getting better. It is unbelievable. We want to hear